Hey everyone, Matt Brunig here. One of the most popular topics that I see here on YouTube and TikTok and Reddit and all sorts of other like internet forums, if you will, is I don't know exactly what you would call it, whether you want to call it like manosphere type stuff or masculinity type stuff or our boys are in crisis type stuff, or I guess sometimes it's called red pill, at least if you're approaching it from a certain perspective. But it's that kind of stuff. It's like relationships and sex and I don't know, men and women and how they're getting along in society and stuff like that. And I wouldn't say I really, I mean, I care, but I don't care, like I think people have seen in the last 10 years of my output that I really care about basically three things, the welfare state, the labor movement, and collective ownership of the means of production. And then everything else I don't really care all that much about. But other people care about this, and based on the people who watch my videos, I think many of them might care about this. So maybe I dip my toe in for somewhat cynical reasons to see if I can add something to it. Because the other thing is, when I watch all this stuff, it's the people who push it. I wouldn't say the top tier, and I wouldn't say they're doing the due diligence fully. When they're opining on this stuff. In the world of the welfare state and socialism and all that kind of stuff, you got a lot of heady intellectuals. It's a little bit difficult to rise to the top. I wonder a little bit, who's the top dog that I would not be able to outdo with sort of my methods. Anyways, the first topic I want to bring on, and I guess I should preface here, it's not even that, when I say I don't care, I mean genuinely, I'm not here to like debunk anything or whatever. I just want to get into that stream. And hey, maybe that makes me the best person actually to deal with this, because I'm not, I really have no dog in the fight, to be perfectly honest with you. Oh, I just made my webcam wiggle. Okay. So the first subject on this that I wanted to get into is this claim that I've seen literally 100 times from 100 different places, even though, like I said before, I don't really seek this out all that often, but I somehow manage to get it in my feeds. And it's this claim that sexlessness among young men is just fucking through the roof, just skyrocketing. It's everywhere. Here, I just searched 30% of young men know sex on YouTube, just to get the tip of the iceberg here. A third of men under 30 are not having sex. The number of sexless men has tripled in 10 years. And I mean, these are big views. There's 1 million views on this one. Highest virginity rate. This guy, Rational Male Clips. You know what? I actually saw this guy on Dr. Phil last week. And he was wearing some kind of strange beanie. Hey, he's on Dr. Phil. I'm not on Dr. Phil, so who am I to try to mock him? But he's on it. This guy, I mean, it just goes on and on. This lady, Pearl or whatever, I see her everywhere on TikTok. I don't know why exactly or what her I know what her shtick is, but why are young men choosing celibacy? Is this so? I imagine this is like some kind of troll, like almost response. Anyways, it goes on and on. Now, where is this claim coming from? The claim is coming from this data from the General Social Survey. The General Social Survey is produced by this organization at the University of Chicago called NORC. I actually tried for about 2 or 3 minutes to figure out what NORC was an acronym for, and believe it or not, I could not find that out. So, about our name. Here it is. I'm so fucking stupid. It just says NORC. It's like, we're just like, it was started as the National Opinion Research Center. But they really just want to go NORC now. It's like ESPN, It's just ESPN. It's not entertainment, sports, whatever the fuck it was initially. All right, so GSS is produced by these guys, and anyone can create an account on their website here, and you can start like pulling down some data from it. I don't know if you can get micro data. I'm sure someone can, but they have this table maker, and it's pretty clear that most of the people who use this are just using the table maker. So table maker is very much just like point and click, and it'll make like a lovely little like cross tab for you, and then then you don't really have to do all that much. So you can search for the variables that you want here. I've already done some searching, and you can see what I'm doing. These are the ones that you need. So the ones that are used for that particular stat are these 4 right here. Right, so you get those 4, you throw them in a cart, and then you can create a new tabulation. All right, and you click cross tabulation here. Next, the variable we're looking at here, we want sexual frequency during the last year. We want age. Now, people are cutting this different ways, but the most common one I see is 18 to 25. So we'll click those ages. You see, I'm just clicking all those ages. And that means I'll only get 18 to 25. And then we also want sex, right? This is, male. All right. And then you just create the table. It takes a second, you go in this queue. It actually is not that slow. But yeah, so, once they do this, out pops on the other end, some table that's going to show that, sex has really collapsed among the young. And let's see if it actually shows that. Here we go. All right. And all right, so you get this right here, sexual frequency during the last year. And see, they can answer, you got inapplicable, no answer, do not know, did not choose. Here's none. Right, so this is the people who have no sex. This is what we're looking for. Now, you see in the early years, they're not asking this to anyone, but it starts in 1989 here. And then we get the people who are saying not at all. And you see we've got these other options as well. And, the first thing to note here is that the number of people who are actually being asked this question and answering it are pretty low. The total amount right here, right, shows it. Can you see? I don't know if you can see with my head. Let me move my head. The total amount of people in 2021 who were asked this, males ages 18 to 25 is only 222. But notice that 94 of those are not even are not even really in the game, and then 10 didn't even answer. So you're talking about like 100 people, a little over 100 people in this sample. Only 36 said they did. You see it right off the bat. That's not a whole lot, but whatever. So what I did is I downloaded this. You can see right here, you can export it as an Excel file. And then I just put that Excel file into Google Sheets here. So let's see what this looks like here. So what are we doing here? So it's the same thing from there. And then what I did is I just added up, I just made a percentage here. So here's the percentage of all people in this set that said they had no sex. And in the denominator, I'm including these 3 as well, right? So it's this divided by all of this, which is also total, right? So this divided by all of this. And then I did another one where you exclude the people who don't answer. So it's just this divided by all of this. Does that make sense? So we don't count these guys one way or another. And I did it both ways because when you do that, here's what we get in the graph, which is somewhat telling. Okay, so the red is the one that people who talk about this statistic, this is the one that they're always using, right? And remember, in this one, you just don't even count these guys. You don't count these guys, you just throw them out, right? They're not in the numerator, they're not in the denominator. So in the red one, you can see, oh man, look at it. It's up and up and up. Now, the first warning sign when I look at this is look at the up and down and up and down and up and down of this. In 2012, only 4% in both of them said, or 3% in one and 4% in the other. Only 4% are sexless here. And then it shoots up to over 20%, and then it just keeps going. Is that really, I mean, so it goes from 10% to 4%, almost nobody. I mean, what happened? This was 2012 was a year of sex, man. People were really, I don't know what happened. Was there some movie, some song that came out that just got people revved up? Who the hell knows? But a lot of sex apparently. Anyways, notice that the red and the blue lines basically track each other all the way going back until these last few years. And these are the years everyone's fixated on, right? Here's how you get the 30% of young men not having sex, or 34% if you look the year before. You get it with the red line, but the blue line, is not shooting up. So the blue and the red track each other, and then all of a sudden we get this detachment here. I don't know really what to make of it, but if we focus on the blue line, where we include everyone in the denominator here, including the people who didn't choose or didn't have an answer or whatever. If you go with the blue line, well, what have we got? We got here in the latest year in 2021, only 16% of men between the ages of 18 and 25 had no sex. That's less than the year before. That's less than 2016. That's less than 2014. Not less than 2012, obviously the year of sex. Less than 2004. Less than 2000. Less than 1998. Less than 1993. I don't know how many people you expect to not have sex. 16% doesn't seem all that high to me. And at minimum, there's no trend. There's no noticeable, like, wow, what a crazy trend. Not in the blue line. In the red line, yeah, but that's sort of weird. So I think I would say needs more research, needs more evidence. Like, let's actually, try to nail this down a little bit better than relying on this statistic, because it looks to be a little bit trash. Now, when I figured out that this was coming from the General Social Survey, I vaguely remembered something that happened in 2016, also related to the General Social Survey. And it's this right here. Actually, let's start with the New York Times one. Do millennials want stay-at-home wives? This is from 2017, excuse me. Stephanie Kuntz, New York Times, the big dogs, all right? And they go through, and this is the trend, right? Percentage of young Americans who disagreed with this statement. It is much better for everyone involved if the man is the achiever outside of the home and the woman takes care of the home and family. And what they're kind of alarmed about here is that, look, after 2000 or whatever, or I should say around the turn of the millennium, almost 75% of men disagree with this, right? So this is basically women need to stay at home while men work. 70% of young men disagreed with that in the 2000s, but look, it's just going down and down and down. And by the time we're getting to 2014, only 52% of young men agree with that. Right? It looks like it's slipping away, like the gains of feminism and gender equality are slipping away. Men now want, and not, but only for men, not for women, right? Men now want traditional stay-at-home wives, right? And I'll spare you the whole article, but I thought this bit was funny here. Such slippage in support for gender equality may have been a factor in the 2016 election, even though voters 18 to 30 were more likely than any other age group to vote for Hillary Clinton. An analysis of exit polls by this person of Tufts University reveals that millennial support for a white woman in 2016 was 10 percentage point lower than their vote for a black man in 2008. Furthermore, the gender gap among young people was larger than in previous generations. 63% of young women voted for Mrs. Clinton. Only 47% of young men did so. So, of course, right, it also explains why Hillary didn't win. It's these damn young men who want trad wives now all of a sudden, right? And like I showed before, we got this at the Washington Post as well. Why millennial men prefer stay-at-home wives, race and feminism, Brad Wilcox, Samuel Sturgeon, on and on. It's the same stuff, okay? Now notice this line stops in 2014, okay? So what I what I remember about this came out in 2017, right? And then the data stopped in 2014. Literally like a week or two after this, the 2016 data came out on the same question, because they ask this question every couple of years. You see it here, right? So the 2016 data came out, and I went ahead and just graphed it here using, again, the General Social Survey. And you can see what happens. Again, they're using the red. So the norm is always to use the red for this kind of stuff. And you can see, yeah, look, here's men 18 to 25 who disagree with that statement that, women should stay in the house. Look, it's up at 70% disagree. And then, oh my God, it's collapsing. It's down to 53%, right? And that's the 2014 data point. And all these articles are written. Millennial men, young men, they're no longer feminists. They no longer support gender equality, blah, 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 blah. Literally like a week or two later, the 2016 data came out. Boom. 88%. Higher than it has ever been. And I guess it's come down a little bit since then in this survey, but it's still 73%, still the highest. It's, still higher than it was in 2000. And you see it's a similar trend with the blue, though obviously the numbers are lower across the board when we include, these non-answers in the denominator. But yeah, I mean, that's not to say, hey, just because this trend reversed in here, that means GSS is always kind of unreliable. But I do think it raises the question of how much weight should you really put on stuff in the General Social Survey. I think people have been burned on the General Social Survey a little bit too often. And when you're talking about cutting it this thin, where you're only doing men aged 18 to 25, that sample is so small. You're talking about something like this that has a big social desirability problem. People are maybe not inclined to always be honest about something like that. You're talking about a question here that's related to sex, something very private. I would not peg anything to this. I don't think the General Social Survey data on this is remotely reliable. I don't see how anyone could watch this graph shoot down to 4% and then up to 30% just a few years later and be like, yeah, that's legit. They're really capturing real trends in society. And then, of course, watch this divergence with the blue and the red, so... Anyways, I think that stat, which has spawned 1 million YouTube videos, is basically bogus. I don't think we really have any evidence at all of any kind of trend on this, certainly not from the General Social Survey. So don't believe it. Don't believe it. And if you like this video, do like it, like in the little interface. But also, feed me some stuff that you want me to opine on, respond to, your favorite stuff in this area, because I do see some of it come across, but not all of it. And, I'd love to do some more deep dives on these in this topic. So let me know.